you have a very emotional story. What was it like the first time you told it, and why did you decide to tell it?
Because I wish, right? I wish that somebody would have shared my story with me when I started the business off, because I had no idea. I thought it was all in spinny chairs and BMWs and, you know what I mean? And nobody sets you up for the reality of it. And I felt, and that's why, you know, sales pitch over, but that book, I wrote it just so I could say, I've wrote a book. And the next thing is the highest rated business book on Amazon, get off your ass. And that was almost vindication, because what I did, I talked about the reality of what it's like, sat there self-employed with a dressing gown on watching Jeremy Kyle. You know, while your wife's working, 15 quid an hour. So I did it because nobody else out there did it. And when I did this, people told me it never worked. People told me that people wouldn't take me seriously. You know what? I don't see those people standing up here now talking to you guys.
Okay, thank you. And my second question...
Can I go on your show, by the way?
Yeah, of course.
You're
going to follow me back on Twitter?
You know that? Domestic. You know what? I told him I love him, and now it's all going wrong. Well,
my second question...
Take it offline, that one. All right.
My second question is, from telling your story, what stories have you had other people come back and tell you that you've inspired them?
Oh, listen, I had a guy email me to say, oh, hello Brad, I'm halfway through your first book and I'm leaving my wife tomorrow, 13 years. True story. I said, Chris, can I be honest with you, mate? He goes, yeah, Brad. I went, you're halfway through it, finish the fucking book off. But he left his wife because he was in a deeply unhappy relationship. And we all are in situations in our lives where we're unhappy with, but we just sort of go along with the small spiders. I.e., you know, just my story, I ended up getting diabetes type 2, and I got warned about it by the doctors 2 years ago, say. He said, oh, your blood sugars are blah, blah, blah. I thought, yeah, diabetes only happens to fat people. I just kept going, eating the ginsters, eating the McDonald's, 2 stone heavier, and then all of a sudden he goes, your blood sugars are over. That was all because I was on the road. I had this level of entitlement that I could do what I want when I want. And this is the thing. We don't believe there's consequences to our actions. And I'm not saying live like a saint, because I certainly ain't, as you can gather, right? I'm no saint. But what I'm trying to say is there needs to be a piece, and this is, going back to the original point, this is the piece that you need to understand, that your actions can impact on other people, and your victimless crimes can impact on other people. That was never intention that someone would leave the wife, but it wasn't right for them. They was in this marriage that was loveless, and they left as a result of get off your ass. That's a powerful load of responsibility from a bloke from Manchester to be, you know, sat on.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
I'm on PS4, by the way, if anyone plays it. Far Cry 4, amazing. Serious.
Any questions from the floor? Yeah, one at the back there?
No, I don't.
No, you can go on, be brave.
No.
Yep, there's one there.
Go on, brave. Yeah.
1 second, the mic's just coming over to you.
You spit some bars?
Yeah. You said you need to choose between wealth and relationships.
Yeah, no, I think think about it like a sliding scale, right? Think about it like a sliding scale. In order to get to wealth, you're going to have to dip into the bank that is personal relationships and health. Because I tell you something, if I would have tried to keep this work-life balance here, I'd never have got my business off, right? So you have to go into there. Think of it like a bank, like you're taking a withdrawing and you're going into the red. So there's a balance in that. You just need to be mindful. I didn't know there would be a personal price to my health and relationships. I had no comprehension of that. I thought it was all about balance sheets and vertical markets and profit and loss. Nobody talks about that. That actually, you know, my wife telling me to go and get a proper job or stand up rounds with 1 day away from getting divorced. Nobody talks about that. So hopefully that answered it.
Thank you.
Thank you, boss.
Any other questions?
Oh no, come on.
Don't be shy.
There you go. Awesome.
What was it that made you think, actually, I want to open a business, or I want to do my own
Great
business?
question. So what was it? True story. I was working for a company over in Essex, and I was on £30,000 a year, which might sound all right, but I was living in Somerset, commuting to Essex, so it was costing me, I don't know, I was doing 3 days in digs there, blah, blah, blah. And when I worked it out, I took all my costs for travelling to my dinghy, plus my digs, plus living on frigging bachelor's pasta and sauce, right, every single day, being away from my family, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, I might as well be flipping hamburgers over in Western Supermare Seafront. Because when you take it all out, you headline it, and you sort of blag yourself, yeah, I'm on 100 grand, great, but your mortgage or your house that you don't really like kind of cost you so forth. And what happened is one evening I was driving back from this job to the digs, and we didn't have Wi-Fi back in the day, since 10 years ago. And I used to stay in the office as long as I could, and I used to have what I called in the evening, that was my dinner, bleat and 2 veg. I used to just whinge about the employer. And then one evening, I'm driving back, in my clapped out N-Reg Vauxhall Omega, all rust on one wing. I used to go to business meetings and park it up against the wall and get out of the passenger seat. Seriously, it's rascal. And I went to pass this guy going in a house with electric gates. He had like a Mercedes or a BMW, and he's going in electric gates. And I thought, I could work 80 to 100-hour weeks at this employer, and I'll still never be able to afford the frigging gates. And it was the penny drops who went, shit, what I've been taught for 30 years about, oh, you go and get a job and it's safe for life and that's what you do, it's a myth. And I realised there's no safety, there's no security. That actually I've been told, go and get a proper job, you know where you stand. Look at what's happening at the moment in the climate, in the markets, banks going kaput. Phones for you, or whatever it was. The one that, I can't remember what it was, but one of them went overnight. £47 million in the bank. So some senior manager would have been working there for the last 20 years, and then all of a sudden, the next thing, Adam Bolton's on Sky News, and says you've lost your job, and he didn't know anything about it. You're in control of your own destiny with running a business, and it's not easy, but I know exactly where to stand. That answered it. Thank you.
There was another question there.
How did you get your wife back when you're on the brink of divorce?
So we had a divorce lawyer booked on the Friday, and listen, it wasn't just related to business, because what was happening was you're going out there and you're partying, blah, 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 right. So, you know, so the point I'm making is this, you know, you get a level of entitlement, big man thing, you get me? Boom, right? So it is. You know, and you think you're invincible because you're a superstar in your business, so you can go out partying hard, boom, 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 boom. I remember we had a divorce lawyer booked on the Friday, and about 2 o'clock on the day before, on the Thursday, we just ended up breaking down crying. A pair of us looked at each other, and she said, you know, I understand why we got here. And that, if she wouldn't have said that, she'd have gone, there's your bags, fuck off. Guess what I'd have done? Took my bags and fucked off, but she didn't. She said, I understand why we got here. And this is what I'm trying to say, people. As it happened, you know, me and my wife are back together, and I've actually got a 6-month-old daughter now, so yeah. I've had sex with my wife once in 12 months. Hey, let me give you a tip, starting out. Don't get married if you want sex, all right? So, no. Yeah, so that's it was her decision. Her saying those words, I understand why we got here. Her saying those words, I understand why we got here, was the difference between my life and some of the most difficult decisions that you're going to make in your life are going to come down to 51%, 49%. And your life's going to be defined by them. That was one of those moments. Later.
You have a question there.
How you doing, boss?
Hello, Mr. Burton. I just want to know if it is possible by you. How can you find a balance?
I found it.
To tell a young entrepreneur that is trying to go through that road, to be able to be successful and not losing the wife or refusing to get married, you know, just to find a balance. How can one, from your experience, anyway?
But there's no balance when you start a business off. It's a myth, right? You've got to work your cobblers off 18-hour days. It's a myth. You go into meetings and people are laughing in your face. You know, 10 years ago, if I would have said, hey guys, I want to be a speaker here, you'd have gone, yeah, all right. What credibility have you got? And this is what I'm talking about. It takes time, and you are going to have to put a load in up front and get no return. There's no ROI on everything, you know, return on investment on those first few years. All you're doing is building up a reputation, building up experiences, building up your mistakes. So work-life balance, that comes later if you're lucky. Joanna had a question. Joanna, sorry, no, it should have been you next.
I just wondered where you were going next. What's your next goal?
Great question. You know, I've achieved more than I ever was set out. My CV, I should have been a bank robber. Right? And this is showing, hey, sort of half joking, right? This is what I'm trying to say to you. You have opportunities in your life. You have a fork in your road and you can go left or right. And you can choose to be anything you want. I could have been a bank robber. I could have chose to because I was moving those circles. Now for me, you know, I've achieved what I've achieved with 3 books and so forth. For the first time in my life, I'm goalless. And it's a really sad position to be in. And I'm being honest about that. I don't communicate that normally, but I'm sort of goalless because I've ticked every box and I'm not sure, you know, I don't want to be hyper wealthy anymore. Years ago, if you'd asked me 10 years ago what I'm doing it for, I'm doing it because I want a Lamborghini, I want a 10-bedroom mansion, I want an Apache gunship with Hellfire rockets. Right? You know, just stuff. Just stuff, you know, material things. I've got no inclination for all that stuff anymore. So I've reached a level in my life where, yes, I can go and earn more money and earn more money. So what, to buy frigging granite kitchen surfaces to make us feel better? No. So I don't know, this is the piece in my life where, you know, the truth is about any of our lives, that actually what we're after is happiness. Right? And I'm not being airy-fairy with that, but we're all after happiness. And somewhere along the way we go, I'll tell you what, if we go and get a bottle of Grey Goose, I'll have happiness for the duration while you've done it. And then the next thing, you've got no rent money. So you get a short term there, or you go and get a belt, or you go and do this. And these things are not going to find you happiness. I've found happiness right now. Genuinely. Having been Mr. Way, let's go guys, way, 500 quid a night, bum, spend all money, that's where I thought my happiness was. Fucking myth. I was conning myself. I was blagging myself. I found happiness right now, and you know, I just my motivation is to make a positive difference, and hopefully, you know, I'll continue to do that. That's me MO at the moment, and you know, I speak at prisons and stuff, which, you know, you think it's quite a romantic vision until all of a sudden you've got murderers opposite, and you go, oh, fucking hell, this isn't as fun as I thought it was. Anyway, Alex, got a question? Yeah. We got time?
Sorry, Brad, I missed most of your speech. I was
don't worry.
taken out to bloody move my car because it was
shit
parked
anyway,
wrong.
wasn't it?
Listen, I don't know whether or not you brought it up earlier, but it's just something I wanted to ask. So, obviously from like-minded kind of perspective, so when you obviously start out, you kind of have that vision, that goal, that, as you said there, that one moment you want to be where everything is done. Can I just ask, what was it like? What would you describe as the feeling when actually you realised that, shit, you know, bloody hell, what I thought of where I was going to be all them years ago, I'm actually now here? What was that actually like?
Interesting, because you think you cracked it. It's like scaling a mountain, and all your life you go, you know what, Everest, I'm going to scale a mountain, and for 8 years you train, get your oxygen mask on, all that sort of stuff, fabulous. And then you get to the top of that mountain, put a flag in it and go, it's just a fucking mountain. Right? It's really flat. This is the thing, and this is what we do in life. We chase things that we think that's going to sort everything out, that when I become this, I'm going to vindicate, I'm going to show that teacher, I could amount to anything. Forget it. Find your own goals. Find your own goals, because I promise you, if your goals are somebody else's goals, no good. Find your own goals, and if your goals is working in a frigging pig farm, you know, changing thingies, don't be upset about that. We don't all have to be fucking Alan Sugar. Right? It's a myth. We've been sold that that's what the dream is, that that's what the commercial dream is, that we get a thing in, we get staff and this, that and the other. Why? What is it that having staff and having a big office, what will it do to your life that right now your life's not got? So, you know what, I mean, like I say, I'm a strange entrepreneur in that I've actually gone on this journey, and I run a successful business, a national business. But in some respects, so what?
Thank you very much. We've got time for one more question.
This lady, look, case.
Thank you. When people were telling you that it wasn't going to work, and
I've had it for 10 years, by the way. It's not like it's just one person all the way through.
Yeah, and when the goings were going really hard, so what kept you going on, or what kept you motivated, and what strengthened you?
I promised my kids I'd take them to Disney World. Serious, I promised my children I'd take them to Disney World. And without that, I'd have gone, oh, fuck this. But you know what, I can't let those guys down. I'm going to give them memories. I've invested in memories. I wanted to take them. My dad did an insurance job when I was 7, right? And he took me, right? And I said to that, my kids, I'd take them. And I couldn't do an insurance job, not anymore. But it was that bit, it was that whole piece about, you know, that I was doing it for them. Because my motivation for myself wasn't enough. You know, I want a BMW 23-inch wheels. So what? It's not enough. So find something, tune something in, plumb that into your thinking as to what your why is. Because without that, when it gets tough, it'd be easy to go, you know what, I'm going to go and get a proper job. Boys and girls, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Make sure you all follow Brad on Twitter. His Twitter name's at Brad Burton. It's on the screen there. Before you go, I did hear you mention spitting some bars. Have you got some bars that you wanted to spit?
Listen, a friend. 1 second. Have I got some bars? Have I got some bars? Have I got some bars for you? A friend of mine's at MC, I don't know if anyone's into drum and bass, Trigger. MC Trigger, anyone know him? Right, he's a good friend of mine. And good friend of mine. And we was there, and he was trying to teach me bars. Embarrassing. And he said, should I put it on YouTube? No, mate, I'd like to keep my reputation. I can't spit bars, I'll leave it to the experts. Go for it.
You want me to?
What do you
want me to spit bars about?
About me?
About you?
Go.
All right, it might hurt. First of all, I'm going to spit about my friend Brad Burton. You asked me how big's my why? Well, mine's wider. I'm going to talk about that little big spider that's rolling through my head that's made my face gone red. You want to hear bars? You better pay me a check.
Boom! Whoa! Boom!
Oh, you're getting me gas. You're getting me gas. You're getting me gas.